And sometime later, in the Mayfair hideout of the world's greatest detective, Colonel K, head of Secret Services, is through to Danger Mouse on the video phone.
Something's got to be done, dear. Streets are awash with custard.
So's the Persian rug, sir. Penfold opened a tin for tea.
Well, get out there and do something before the Earth's completely covered in... Don't open that tin, Miss...
Comedy is already a challenging thing to discuss and critique. Absurdist comedy is a whole other level. While a lot of comedy is based on logic, setups, and payoffs, absurdist comedy is about violating that logic, catching you off guard with non sequiturs and strange juxtapositions. How can you say when absurdist comedy works or not? Was it weird? Yes? Then it worked. Maybe. I don't know. There's quite the tradition of absurdism in British comedy. From the surreal antics of the Goon Show to the wild tangents of Monty Python, you could expect some collapse of logic when you turned on the telly for a chuckle. Of course, there's plenty of absurdism in children's media too. With kids far less concerned with logic and much more imaginative, you can give them things like a caterpillar smoking a pipe or a worm driving an apple-shaped car. And, of course, animation allows for near infinite possibilities, giving visual permanence to dreams themselves. So with all that in mind, you can imagine that a British children's cartoon can get pretty absurd sometimes.
Could you tell me whereabouts in the universe we are?
You be in the potty par.
The potty par?
You're the potty par of the universe.
Custard is the first episode of the second season of Danger Mouse, the flagship show of Cosgrove Hall Films. This was when Danger Mouse started airing episodes in 5-minute chunks spread out through the week. Custard airing between January 4th to January 8th, 1982. Subsequent reruns, including the eventual Nickelodeon broadcasts, edited the segments back together, but with the redundant opening themes and credits removed, these edited versions ran pretty short, Custard clocking in at just barely over 19 minutes. For Nickelodeon, this meant stuffing the episode with commercials and often putting a short at the end, perhaps an episode of Banana Man or some such thing. Custard starts off silly but relatively straightforward. The evil Baron Greenback has created a new weapon, a can of custard that, when open, expands and explodes outward. By giving a can of free custard to every person in the world, planet Earth soon finds itself at risk of drowning in eggs and cream. And then, Greenback will have taken over the world? There's definitely a step missing here between Custard Flood and Profit. Danger Mouse is on the case, but how do you get rid of an ocean's worth of custard?
Interesting book, this, Penfold. Lists all life forms in the solar system. Ah, got it. The Wommerblid custard mite of Glut.
The what, sir?
We've got to find it, Penfold.
But, Chief, why?
Because, Penfold, it lives on custard. Come on, we're taking the space hop.
Naturally, you get in a spaceship and track down the one alien in the universe that lives exclusively on custard. But that's hardly what the episode is about. The episode is actually about Penfold falling into a nest of alien eggs and having one of the aliens imprint on him, thinking he's its mother. Wait, no, sorry. This episode is actually about our heroes getting caught by an alien police state who all carry hair dryers on their belts. Or, actually, now that I think about it, it's about our heroes trying to find 99 bicycle clips to pay their fine.
You have been fined 99 cycle clips. Go directly to jail. Do not collect £200. Who's a naughty boy, then?
Good grief. Well, that confirms where we are, then. I can't think what they'll do with 99 bicycle clips.
The further into space our heroes get, the more absurd everything else gets. We go from gags about alien monsters with dentures, to finding ourselves in a random spoof of Space Invaders, to a Duck Amuck style visual gag of Danger Mouse flying off the map and having to fill the white space in with a pencil.
Must have gone off the map about here. So, if I draw this bit in till the chart catches up with us... that's it.
And finally, it all devolving into a mess of random cutout style animations that would make Terry Gilliam go, "Alright guys, reel it in a bit." Then they fall into a pink hole, which... I get the joke, but maybe let's not call it a pink hole. Written by head writer Brian Truman and directed by head director Brian Cosgrove, Custard feels like a test to see just what the show could get away with in terms of off-the-wall visuals and absurd humor. Not that Danger Mouse wasn't a silly show before this point, it was always silly, but Custard pushed that silliness to the nth degree. One of the advantages of this is that absurdism can do a lot to cover up cost. Danger Mouse started off as a very cheap-looking cartoon, with limited frames of animation and reused assets all over the place. It's no less choppy here, but when nothing looks as it should anyway, when backgrounds disappear or the characters all turn pink or the setting starts to look like a ransom note, Danger Mouse hiding behind his steering wheel so they don't have to animate his mouth doesn't feel that notable. And heck, you could argue it adds to the aesthetic. If you hadn't watched any Danger Mouse before this point and couldn't recognize its usual animation shortcuts, you could be tricked into thinking it's part of a deliberate presentation, like David Lynch getting his actors to act intentionally hammy. Not that I'm calling Custard Lynchian. If anything, its closest relative is probably 1968's Yellow Submarine, another surreal adventure into spaces unknown. Fun fact, one of the animators on Yellow Submarine, Dave Livesey, would end up working at Cosgrove Hall and did a number of episodes of Danger Mouse and Count Duckula. He didn't do Custard, but still, that's pretty neat. Custard is not that hard to follow, and many of the gags are still based in some level of pun or parody. And it's pretty good. I'd go so far to say Custard is my favorite episode of Danger Mouse. And that's, about all I can say. Reviewing comedy is hard. All you can really do is list off jokes and say if they worked or not, and the jokes in Custard work more than they don't. Finding this episode is easy. It's on DVD, it's on streaming with Paramount Plus, and it's legally up on YouTube. Twice! Both the original segmented version and the edited down version. I would not, however, recommend it as your first Danger Mouse episode. It's not terribly representative of the series as a whole. Build up to it. Watch a few from the first season first to get a baseline of how much Custard is pushing things here. And if you want a larger context for the series, check out the Knacks episode on Danger Mouse. After all, this was just a sample.